Welcome to part 3 of my Anakin Skywalker Character Analysis. If you haven't seen part 1 or 2 yet, then I highly encourage you to do so. I'll throw up the title card and place a link in the description to it. In today's video, I'll continue my case for Anakin as the greatest Star Wars character, looking at his role in episode 3. So without further ado, let's get into it. At the start of the film, we see that war has become commonplace for the people of the Republic, as the Separatists kidnap the Chancellor himself. This normalization of violence is furthered as we see Obi-Wan and Anakin leading the mission to rescue Palpatine, as this clearly isn't their first rodeo. As simply an exclamation of war to start the opening crawl says it all, along with there are heroes on both sides, evil is everywhere. This line emphasizes the idea that good really is a point of view, as both sides consider themselves good and the other evil. This idea symbolizes the dichotomy of war, and in the case of Anakin, the conflict that's growing within him, as all the lines begin to become blurred. The perfect synchronization between Anakin and Obi-Wan highlights the strides that they've made in their relationship, as they're now on the same page more than ever, working cohesively to get their job done. The conflict of war has allowed the master and apprentice to create a tighter bond with one another.
Master, General Grievous' ship is directly ahead.
Oh, I see it. Oh, this is going to be easy.
And so, their mission begins, and we get to see how the master and apprentice play off each other.
This is where the fun begins.
Anakin is right in his comfort zone, as flying and fighting for something he believes in alongside brave soldiers is like a dream come true for him. It's also a reminder of his adventurous nature as he embraces the moment and seizes it head on.
I'm gonna go help them out.
No, they are doing their job.
Then we can do ours.
While to an extent, Obi-Wan is right to keep Anakin focused on the mission, Anakin can't help but wonder if Obi-Wan has become partially desensitized to a clone's death through the war itself, or even not valuing their lives as highly as others. It can almost come across as if he sees their only purpose is to die, so they could live. Of course, for Anakin, we know he values all lives equally, even if clones were designed for war. Anakin wouldn't ask the clones to do anything he wouldn't do himself for them, and risking his own life is one of them, especially for those that are on the front lines with him, which is why he would be known as one of the most respected generals during the Clone Wars. Either way, Anakin's compassion shines through here, and Obi-Wan's obedience to the code rivals it. A sign of how this difference in philosophy will force the two to be at opposite sides by the end of the film. How Anakin and Obi-Wan deal with the same problem also shows the difference in how the two deal with conflict. Anakin is more emotion-based and takes the fun approach by tricking the missiles into running into each other just for the humor of it, whereas Obi-Wan specifies nothing too fancy and uses the logical approach by nearing another object that's heat could be detected and tracked by the missile. It also highlights the aggressive versus defensive mentality the two have, as Anakin wants to eliminate his threats immediately, where Obi-Wan is willing to wait and then exploit a weakness when the opportunity arrives.
Move to the right so I can get a clear shot at them.
Get to the command ship. Get the Chancellor.
We're running out of tricks here.
Once again, Anakin's aggressive nature is put on full display, and Obi-Wan virtuously puts the mission before his own life. Their philosophies clash again, as Anakin believes that if there's a will, there's a way, and he will not rest without ensuring those he cares about are safe. Where Obi-Wan wants to protect others by sacrificing himself. Basically, both have a hero complex, where one believes that everyone can be saved, you just have to have the will to do so, and the other believes that not everyone can be, so it's his job to be the sacrificed life so others could live, similar to the clones. Summarized by this exchange.
Get out of here. There's nothing more you can do.
I'm not leaving without you, Master.
Hold your fire. You're not helping here.
I agree, bad idea.
Anakin is quick to shoot first, but at least he's more open now to realizing the error in his ways when Obi-Wan throws it in his face.
Move to the right.
Hold on, Anakin. You're gonna get us both killed.
Anakin is persistent and impatient, and Obi-Wan is patient and more passive.
Get him, R2.
R2, hit the bus droid, center eye.
Even the advice they give R2 shows again how they deal with conflict, as Anakin just suggests to blindly attack, and Obi-Wan exposes a weakness of the droid and suggests to concentrate his focus on that area.
The General's command ship is dead ahead.
Well, have you noticed the shields are still up?
Sorry, Master.
Oh, I have a bad feeling about this.
This just reminds us that they work well together because they're opposites, as Obi-Wan prefers structure and Anakin can just wing it to get the results they need. Once on the ship, Obi-Wan and Anakin show again how effective they can be when they work together.
I sense Count Dooku.
I sense a trap.
Next move?
Spring the trap.
They complement each other well, as where Obi-Wan thinks rationally, sensing the deception in their mission, and Anakin thinks emotionally, sensing or detecting a man that has wronged him. This allowing them to proceed with caution and be ready for anything as long as they stick together. Overall, these differences between Anakin and Obi-Wan set the tone for the rest of the film, as their ideologies would be put to the test. Again, with Anakin basing his decisions on emotion and Obi-Wan's on logic, with Anakin trying to save someone at all costs, even if it destroys the man he once was, and Obi-Wan standing for what he believes in and making a sacrifice and letting go of someone he once loved for the betterment of the galaxy, something that Anakin simply could not do, as the two characters really emphasize the theme of loss and suffering, and how the way we handle those things will define us. This quote from the Revenge of the Sith novel sums up these themes that will be explored. It's a story of love and loss, brotherhood and betrayal, courage and sacrifice, and the death of dreams. It's a story of the blurred line between our best and our worst.
Well, there's more than one way out of here.
We don't want to get out, we want to get moving, R2.
A reminder of the difference in how they approach things. Anakin is impulsive and aggressive, and he begins to create a hole in the elevator so they can get going by any means, where Obi-Wan is willing to be patient and wait for R2 to help them.
Always on the move.
Anakin can never slow down and think, where conversely, Obi-Wan lives to think of his actions.
No loose wire jokes.
Did I say anything?
He's trying.
I didn't say anything.
Obi-Wan is not only critical of his apprentice, but even R2 at times. But at least Anakin has his back. It's a lighthearted moment, but this is also a microcosm of how Anakin feels when Obi-Wan criticizes him. Sometimes he feels like Obi-Wan's sass can be a bit much at times, even in the form of a joke or sarcasm. Ultimately, constant criticism can be frustrating to deal with when, to Anakin, what should be important is, as he says, the fact that he's trying. Not that he messed up or made a mistake. This showing why Anakin is quick to defend others with that because he knows that it's something he doesn't enjoy himself, even if it's towards a droid, because, again, he views them as people, and Obi-Wan generally sees them as a tool with a function, and sometimes Anakin can feel like he's being treated that way, in the way that Obi-Wan ridicules him as his apprentice. Anakin and Obi-Wan arrive to the top of the spire to find the Chancellor, only for Anakin's suspicions to be confirmed, being greeted by Dooku.
This time we will do it together.
I was about to say that.
Obi-Wan can't help but once again be the playcaller, as he knows that while Anakin has matured, he still very much needs guidance. And Anakin's response at least shows that he's learned over the years from his mistake of not heeding Obi-Wan's advice. Not only from this moment, but the fact that he and Obi-Wan seem to work better as a team in this film compared to the previous one, showing that sometimes failure is the greatest teacher. Anakin has definitely been waiting for this moment for a long time, unfortunately though with revenge on his mind, shown by the fact that he's the one person who already has his lightsaber in his hand, emphasizing his shoot-first mentality and his need for vengeance.
Your swords, please. We don't want to make a mess of things in front of the Chancellor.
You won't get away this time, Dooku.
Both sides showing confidence in their ability, and rightfully so, as Obi-Wan and Anakin just get right into it, showing that they are definitely more on the same page when it comes to dueling, as their failures in Episode 2 have been addressed over the years throughout the Clone Wars.
I've been looking forward to this.
My powers have doubled since the last time we met, Count.
Good. Twice the pride, double the fall.
Like Anakin, his adversary in Dooku has been awaiting the inevitable, where the two would meet and settle things once and for all. Anakin has been training and has improved exponentially, fighting valiantly throughout the years of the Clone Wars and all its battles. This has given him an untouchable confidence in his skills, but, like Dooku alludes to, his excessive pride in these skills will make his failure that much greater. Similar to the phrases, the bigger they are, the harder they fall, or pride goeth or goes before a fall, or simply, people that are too overconfident or arrogant are likely to fail. all embodying themes that are a part of Anakin's struggle as a character that he must wrestle with in this film, as his quest for greater power and the destruction of the man he was in order to achieve it makes his fall that much greater. As the fight ensues, Dooku clearly focuses on Obi-Wan first, as he has the confidence that he can more easily take on Anakin alone, showing that not only does he view Obi-Wan as a bigger threat, but more importantly he knows that he's mentally tough, and Anakin is impressionable and can be manipulated. Despite the two fighting valiantly together, Dooku then makes short work of Obi-Wan, and with seeing this happen, Anakin gets a glimpse of his fears becoming a reality, as he sees someone that he cares about put in harm's way, and more importantly, on his watch. This reminds him of the time that he wasn't strong enough for his mother, and only heightens the tension within Anakin, as now he's only filled with rage. So he taps into the dark side and gives Dooku a taste of his own medicine by attacking him blow for blow. This gives him a fighting chance, but like Dooku would assess, Anakin is unwilling to fully commit to the darkness and not let it take over his actions.
Sense great fear in you, Skywalker. You have hate, you have anger, but you don't use them.
Anakin then takes his words to heart and utilizes his anger and hate, channeling it into his movements, temporarily giving him strength and focus, to which then he's able to deliver an eye for an eye, or an arm for a pair of hands, and returns the favor of a scarred body by disarming the man that did so to him. Now, Anakin is left with the most important thing in terms of determining character: choice, as Dooku's fate rests solely in his hands. No pun intended.
Good, Anakin, good. Kill him. Kill him now.
Anakin must choose between the light and the dark to show compassion and empathy for the man that has caused the death of so many lives and that he has a personal anger towards, sparing his life and serving him with justice through the system of democracy that he's been fighting for years in a war for, or to give in to revenge and his emotions, serving a dish best served cold, giving Dooku and the Republic a finality to his part in the war, fighting violence with more of the same in the hopes to end it once and for all. This all represented beautifully through the imagery of Anakin holding both a blue and red lightsaber, symbolizing good and evil respectively, of course. This is further highlighted by the fact that Palpatine and Obi-Wan are on either side of him, just like his blades in either hand, similar to the devil and angel on one's shoulders. However, Obi-Wan of course has been subdued, similar to the good part of Anakin's conscience in this moment as he feels the conflict growing within him. But unfortunately, all he can hear metaphorically or internally and literally or externally is the devil on his shoulder encouraging him to take his steps toward the dark side.
I shouldn't.
Do it.
Not only is this iconic line a great meme, but it's a test to Anakin, testing to see if he's willing to give in to his hatred and obey the orders of his future master. It lets Palpatine know that Anakin has that kind of obedience to him and trust that he does not have in the Jedi. He claims,
I shouldn't have done that. It's not the Jedi way.
But he did it anyway, understanding the consequences and valuing revenge more than justice in that moment. Anakin begins to show who he will listen to and follow, even breaking his own moral compass because he trusts Palpatine over Obi-Wan, who would never suggest that he kill an unarmed prisoner. Anakin voicing what his conscience says is basically what Obi-Wan would have advised to him.
Yes, but he was an unarmed prisoner. I shouldn't have done that. It's not the Jedi way.
Essentially, it's not what Obi-Wan would have done.
You did well, Anakin. He was too dangerous to be kept alive. He cut off your arm, and you wanted revenge. Remember what you told me about your mother and the Sand people?
Basically, Palpatine advises, if it was okay then, it's okay now. That the two scenarios aren't any different from each other. Also, this gives us further insight into their relationship and the incredibly strong trust Anakin has in Palpatine, as he never told anyone else about that except for Padme, showing that he's only willing to go to those depths of vulnerability with his wife and the man he views as a father. So, Obi-Wan and the Jedi have failed him, as it's on Obi-Wan to fill that role. But they are more like brothers, so Anakin never opens up in quite the same way, This story of the Sand People being brought up again also emphasizes how critical of a point that this was in Anakin's life, as this is what sets the precedent for his ability to kill in this way, only opening the door to further escalation.
Leave him or we'll never make it.
His fate will be the same as ours.
At the end of the day, Anakin has too much love and compassion for his mentor to leave him for dead. While the Jedi Code may advise no attachments, the bond that the two share is genuine brotherly love. This reflecting the end of the movie where Anakin is left for dead by Obi-Wan, making it all the more tragic. The team would begin to make their escape, but not without any obstacles along the way, as the invisible hand would take heavy fire from a Venator and chaos would ensue. In the elevator sequence, Anakin shows his cunning and ability to think on his feet as he keeps them alive while Obi-Wan is down and the ship is falling straight towards Coruscant.
We're in a bit of a situation here. I missed something? Hold on.
As ridiculous of a situation as Obi-Wan finds himself in, he, like his apprentice, is quick to go with the flow and adapt to what's happening.
Oops. R2, shut down the elevator. Too late, jump!
Ironic as Anakin takes the cautious approach, and his master the spontaneous or improvised one, showing that every once in a while, they rub off on each other.
Ray shields.
Wait a minute. How did this happen? We're smarter than this.
Apparently not.
Anakin actually has a pretty good point. This also shows maturity by Anakin to take their situation for what it is, rather than asking why or where they messed up. It's part of the reason why he can strategize and come up with ideas so quickly, as he doesn't concern himself with the past when it comes to the mission. He just looks at the situation that he's in and tries to find a way out. Although it would do him some good to analyze their mistakes so they don't end up in it again, like Obi-Wan is suggesting.
I say patience.
Patience.
R2 will be along in a few moments, and then he'll release the ray shields.
Anakin shows again their strength in believing in others, as if you're part of the team, you will never lose faith in your ability to contribute, especially when someone like R2 has proven it time and time again. Of course, in this case though, R2's efforts are too little, too late, and in classic fashion, Anakin must deal with Obi-Wan's sassy commentary.
See? No problem.
Do you have a plan B?
They'd then be taken prisoner to the evil General Grievous himself, and Anakin would for the first time come face to face with this legendary enemy.
I was expecting someone with your reputation to be a little older.
Anakin shows that he doesn't back down from anyone, and on the surface, he really earned the title of the hero with no fear. It's also nice to see the banter and trash talk that Anakin throws back at his enemy, proving that he won't be intimidated by simple fear tactics or be provoked by Grievous's veiled insults.
General Grievous, you're shorter than I expected.
Jedi scum.
His calm nature to this, in comparison to his overreaction to other insults, such as not being a master, or not being powerful enough to overcome the high ground, reinforce the idea that Anakin doesn't get as riled up with these things if it's by someone that he doesn't care about, like Grievous, who he literally just met. But when it comes from a master of his that he's known most of his life, then it becomes personal.
Not this time. And this time you won't escape.
R2.
Although the plan B was played off as a joke, this plan definitely screams Anakin thinking on the fly, and Obi-Wan's ability to just roll with it makes it work. Again, showing that Obi-Wan is doing a greater job of valuing and showing appreciation towards his apprentice by utilizing his ideas, where before it came across as if Anakin's opinion didn't matter. Anakin showcases his legendary skills some more and frees the Chancellor, then helping Obi-Wan corner Grievous until his cowardly ways take over, and he runs away from the fight, something that Anakin just can't relate to doing. And that leaves them with a starship that's about to free fall through the atmosphere with all the odds stacked against them. But Anakin is always up for the challenge.
Can you fly a cruiser like this?
Well, under the circumstances, I'd say the ability to pilot this thing is irrelevant.
Strap yourselves in.
Obi-Wan knows where his apprentice's strengths and weaknesses are, just like he understands his own. Where Obi-Wan is not a fan of flying and Anakin is an ace pilot himself, he knows to defer to Anakin and his expertise. Also, Anakin's go-with-the-flow mentality plays great in situations like these, as he knows that his skills won't have as great of an effect on the outcome as much as his confidence and his belief in himself will, as that will give them the greatest chance of survival. The odds may be stacked against them, but that won't stop him from strapping in and giving it his best shot.
We lost something.
Not to worry, we are still flying half a ship.
Obi-Wan brings the undying optimism the team needs, and Anakin with the understatement of the year. With the help of others, Anakin is capable to cap off this day with achieving unreal feats by miraculously landing the invisible hand with minimal damage to the city, and keeping the team alive, adding to his legend and why he truly was considered not only the best star pilot in the galaxy, but a cunning warrior, with all this starting because he was always first and foremost a good friend, willing to do anything to save them.
Another happy landing.
Anakin and Obi-Wan are then tasked with facing something far scarier than the battles of war. Politics.
Oh no, I'm not brave enough for politics. Besides, someone needs to be the poster boy.
Hold on. This whole operation was your idea.
They really aren't a fan of politics, even though their entire life has become centered around it. They avoid it when they can, as they would rather focus on being Jedi, which is a reminder of how it should be.
Let us not forget, Anakin, that you rescued me from the buzz droids. And you killed Count Dooku, and you rescued the Chancellor, carrying me unconscious on your back.
All because of your training.
You definitely get the feeling that this isn't the first time that this has happened, either, having to take turns dealing with these politicians.
And you deserve your glorious day with the politicians.
But you owe me one, and not for saving your skin for the 10th time.
9th time. That business on Cato and Amodia doesn't count.
This scene also does a great job of showing the banter and friendly nature between master and apprentice. And even though Anakin sees through Obi-Wan's sarcasm or flattery, this gives some insight to the idea that Anakin definitely likes having his ego stroked. And in that same way, his ego definitely takes a hit if you underestimate or challenge it. Just another sign of how much his master truly understands him, as would be used in the movie's climax against him.
Wait, not here. I'm tired of all this deception. I don't care if they know we're married.
Anakin reunites with Padme and shows how his emotions can get the better of him, as his excitement to see his wife has him in a mindset of impulsiveness, willing to throw it all away if someone saw them in public. Anakin's response also shows how their discussion about it in episode 2 on the difficulty of keeping their love a secret is catching up with them. And if they're feeling this way now, especially Anakin, then others aren't too far from knowing, like Obi-Wan. This scene also shows again how Padme is more logical, and she's the one who grounds Anakin, as he needs someone who can speak some sense into him when he becomes irrational, something he definitely is when it comes down to love.
You're trembling. What's going on?
Something wonderful has happened. I'm pregnant.
That's wonderful.
What are we gonna do?
This is a happy moment. The happiest moment of my life.
Anakin can immediately tell that something's off, and the fact that Padme is trembling only can be seen as a sign of fear. And when he hears the news, fear is definitely one of the emotions that runs through his mind at first. However, after some contemplation, he's overwhelmed with joy. Padme's worried because of the very real consequences to their actions, as both of them could essentially lose their jobs because of this. And Anakin is a man who goes off of feelings over facts, and ideally believes that love will conquer all. So Anakin reassures her that everything will be alright, which shows how the two balance each other out, as being opposites in that regard allows them to be a good team that's always there for the other. In most cases, this would be great news, but in the case of Anakin, it would only spark a new attachment that would form and that he would stop at nothing to protect, which would prove to be fatal to others around him. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. I had a ton of fun making this video, so if you enjoyed it too, then I highly suggest liking the video. And if you want to see more like it, then definitely hit subscribe. And if you want to be notified when part 4 comes out, then hit the bell for notifications. Or consider checking out my Patreon, where I'll be uploading videos there significantly sooner than on YouTube. So part 4 should be available there as I speak. And the same will apply to the next parts when they come out. And on that note, I want to give a shout out to my patrons. Your support means everything to me. And finally, let me know in the comments which Star Wars character has gone through the greatest fall from grace and why. And who knows, they might be in the next one. Until next time, I will bring peace, freedom, justice, and security to my new empire.